I just thought life was going to continue to go like that. I was in year 11, and then there was quite a major shock to my life, which I'll just tell you about. But
Yes.
Yeah,
so,
what happened?
yeah,
Sounded like life is pretty perfect right now.
well, it was, not a care in the world, and
Mm.
yeah, in my mind, I just thought things would continue going that way. But
Mm-hmm.
what happened? I cut a long story short, but I was woken in the night by Mum saying, "Look, Dad's got a stomach ache or bad sort of pain. We'll take him up to the hospital." And I don't know why there was no ambulance or something, but anyway, Mum and David, older brother, took him up to the hospital, and then I went back to bed. And then sometime later, I got woken by David saying, "Dad's dead." Simple as that. I remember the words quite clearly, and being in the night and a bit groggy, but I just went out the backyard, totally sort of unbelieving, and just sort of, yeah, I dry reach actually, which is a physical reaction to sort of news you don't want to hear. But that was the reality, and it did take a while for that reality to set in. But the father you'd had who sort of loved you, and excuse me,
Yeah.
Had suddenly just gone, and I know how that feels.
yeah,
And
it was just a shock.
you just wake up and you're not you're not thinking because you're all groggy, and
Yeah.
someone, oh, your dad's passed. And I remember in that moment I was like, what? This can't be real. Like, he
Can't
was
be real.
okay, and now
Yeah.
he's not, and he's not here anymore, and that never leaves you.
No, and funny that reaction there, because it's been quite a long time ago since Dad died. But I do remember, and this sounds weird too, but I've studied a bit about grief in recent years, and the reaction I had, all my schoolmates, not all, but a group of my friends came around and they just wanted to console me or whatever. But I was embarrassed to sort of greet them there. I wasn't embarrassed, but I just didn't want to sort of do this. And that's what I was saying. This isn't real. I just want to get back. And I was actually thinking I got sport on Saturday, and I got this homework to do, and everybody's here, and it's just all wrong. So it was just a reaction to sort of the disbelief of it. So anyway, but Mum obviously was more devastated, not more devastated, but as a spouse, that close relationship, she was devastated.
So
And,
how did life change?
Well, it did
What did
change.
life look like?
I remember those first few weeks, Mum just cried non-stop, and it was just really disheartening. And we kids sort of went back to school bit by bit and just got back into life. And the other kids were very good, of course. But yeah, you just had that sense of this isn't real. But Mum, to her credit, it's a great story, which she's documented in other ways. But she actually moved on from that, and she got a job again to support the family. But also, the local church minister encouraged her to sort of do some Bible studies, which she did, and everyone encouraged her. She did quite well, and that led to actually going to the full-time ministry in the Uniting Church. And from what seemed like a dead end for Mum, single mum, and just sort of then kids leaving and she's on her own, but she actually made her life and family some churches that she then ministered over the years until she retired. And bless Mum, but she's gone in the last year or two as well, so it's very sad. But yeah, like I say, it's just something, I think at that age, you're not meant to think about death really, because you're having so much fun. And if I did, it was sort of other families or some other tragedy. We had a few tragedies in town about car accidents, things like that, but the thought of your father, who did die of a heart attack, by the way, yeah, it didn't even think about that. So, yeah, it was quite a shock.
Yeah, all very sudden and unexpected.
Exactly.
Yeah, and grief takes different turns in different ways in different people, and
Yeah.
you never move on, I suppose, because if you would ever, move on from that, it's sort of like the person never existed. It's about, still thinking and honoring, but also working in yourself. And
Exactly.
I can't imagine what it would be like as a, yeah, you were quite young. I was 25, but
Yeah.
you were much, much younger.
I think look, age is a funny thing, but I think myself and my brother and my sister, just you grow up sort of fast, but you're still a child and you still have the fun of the child. But I remember thinking quite differently about a lot of things that people were very passionate about and getting very angry about. I just sort of thought, no, that's small stuff. Just forgive them and move over. So
Yeah.
it just tied in with my Christian faith, but it started to make more sense. Look, if there is a big game, which is life and death, why muck around and get angry and hold grudges against people for these small things? And a lot of people do that, and I just sort of feel like I wish I could put my arm around them and just sort of give them a reality check and sort of see there's something bigger and better you can do with your life than sweat over the small stuff. Small stuff's important too, don't get me wrong. I mean, but yeah,
That's said by a person that has really gone through something that's shaken and changed their life.
yeah. But in a strange way, in a good way, because I think it just made me realise the benefit of a good life. And I often sort of tell people, I think I'm a bit over the top, just thanking people for simple things, but I just think, no, the time to say it is now, not sort of wait for later when they might not be here, so tell them.
Yeah.
And I guess part of the reality is I'd never said to my dad I loved him, like those words. And funnily enough, I was trying to talk to somebody the other day and about our fathers of that era, but like my dad loved me, I knew that, and mum loved me. But I think mum probably said I love you, but I can't remember dad saying those words. And he may have, but I just don't remember it. But the good part for me is that I knew both my mum and my dad just loved me. You had that loving sort of feeling.
Yeah.
Anyway, but back on mum, she had that tough time. David left the following year to go down to uni, and David actually had a bit of a debate about it. He'd stay back and stay, but she said, no, you've got to go on with your life. And so she was sacrificing that to the company of families. She let David go and then me go the following year. And then just Jenny, and a few years after that, she was on her own. But by that stage, she'd done the studies and going into ministry. So,
Well, thank you, Peter, for sharing about the death of your father during that time. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of other people to have heard from you about what it's really like. So thank you for being open enough to share that.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching this short clip of Life Bursts. You can like, subscribe, or follow for more, or head to rawcut.com.au.